Molo, I am a nominated.
Mono, hi. Thank you so much for taking this call. I know you are probably absolutely busy, but please believe me, this is important. We need some career therapy. This is our very first episode of career therapy. As you know, we are huge advocates of career wellness on this channel, which means that we believe in careers that are fulfilling, balanced, that reward you well, and that recognize all of your hard work. So we recognize that it is important to, let go of some things sometimes as you're in this whole process and journey of your career. And this is what career therapy on this channel is all about. It is where I let you let go of everything that you are carrying, whether it is a bad experience or a good one, by telling your story anonymously for you in these calls. Okay, everybody here is cameras off. Please turn off your camera and please mute. Okay, so as much as your mic is muted, you can definitely still voice your opinion, your encouragement, your advice, anything it is, in the comment section down below. So please do that for, one of our own, one of the subscribers of this channel. And if you have your own story that you want me to share, please do send it in to me. You can DM me on Instagram. My handle will be on the screen. I will also have stickers, like question stickers on Instagram that ask for stories. So you can send that in on my DMs on Instagram. I could either tell it as an anonymous story time career therapy on TikTok, or I can share it here on YouTube. You can let me know, or I can also decide. Whatever helps us let go and continue to be great, continue to go out there and thrive. There is no greater, hurt, I believe, than one that stifles your potential. So if it's something that happened in a work environment, whatever the case is, please do share it with me, and you have a confidential space with all of us for you to be able to share it. And obviously I will never ever reveal your name. I will never reveal the details of your story, like your employer, whatever the case is. But I will always tell your story the way that, is the most authentic. A final disclaimer is that I understand, listen, this is not a good look. Guys, my nails are in a horrible state right now. I've been extremely busy. I do not have time for an appointment. I don't even know what I want to do next with my nails. So for now, this is how I will be looking, at least for another week, until I figure myself out. Please do accept me as I am. I'm accepting you. Accept me, please. I did, though, try to overcompensate with this eye look. I hope it's doing something for you. Okay, I went pretty far, further than I usually go. So I hope this does something for you. Okay, so let's get into the story, right? I'm going to be telling these stories in first person because I'm a crazy person. You may not know this about me. Nice to meet you. I'm Mayona Minetli, and I'm not absolutely well. And I would not like to tell the story in third person because I really want to give you that satisfaction of you telling the story yourself. Okay. So I grew up in a very traditional family, but my parents were very supportive of me, as a girl child, really growing up and having my own career. They really supported my choices, and they pushed that you really put education first. So it was very important to them that anything that you wanted to do, you had to go to school for it. Go to school for it. They'll support you. They'll do anything that they can to make sure that you can get your education, and then you can go ahead and work. So I grew up in a small town, so I had that relationship with plants, harvest, with animals, and I was always so fascinated, by life and the simplicity of it all. I was so amazed by how, life has such an impact on us. As much as a plant can grow from being so small, but you can have acres and hectares of harvest, and something so simple can be so majestic, when it's in huge quantities and you do it as a business. So I fell in love with agriculture as a young child. And I always told myself and I always told my parents that I want to do anything in agriculture. I want to have a farm one day, particularly a farm where I grew food. So there I was, I finished my matric. I was so happy with myself. And, I had to give that final reassurance to my parents that I will be able to make a living off of this. Like, just because I grew up in a small town and people farmed, for fun or maybe subsistence farming, but I wanted to make it big. So, they listened to me and they really took my research, the research that I had done, seriously. So off I went to school. I did really well. I made good friends and I grew so much during my varsity life. At my university, you had to have work experience. You had to do internship, work experience for you to be able to actually work in the industry and graduate. So as soon as I was done with all my modules and my coursework, I then started looking for work because now I had 18 months and I had to get an internship for me to be able to graduate. And all I could think about is, I was just going to be on a farm. I was finally going to be able to touch, smell, get down and dirty with all the things that I'd been learning about. And this was actually going to bring me so much closer to my dreams. All of these, majestic things I thought about when I thought about agriculture, it was finally going to be a reality. So, like I said, I'm from a small town, right? In KZN. So I'm from a small town and now I'm finally going to a big city and I really want to work at a commercial farm. I want to get real experience with people who make a living and make an impact in the country's wealth because of agriculture. I wanted to learn from the big dogs, okay? Because I knew that this is what I needed for me to actually really prove to my family that what I'm doing is actually going to make a good living for me. And not just a good living, but I could be able to support them. I could be able to support so many families with my farming. So before I left, right, to go and look for this internship, my boyfriend was actually based in Pretoria already. So I knew this was our chance to actually be that power couple and for Open to see me, that I'm focused, I've got my qualification or I'm almost there with my qualification. I'm going to be seeing him more often and I'm going to be doing, my purpose. I'm going to be living my purpose with my agriculture. So I knew Pretoria was going to be the perfect place for me because two birds with one stone. I get to be close to my man. And I also get to get this, work experience that I absolutely need from an amazing farm. So my friends and I then find an agent that was helping place graduates or soon to be graduates into all of these different farms. And this agent was great. He was so helpful. He took all of our information and he always kept his word as well. Always made sure that, you have all of your admin in check and you're able to actually get good placement. So he doesn't give you, number one, he doesn't give you any background on these farms. He just lets you know, that there you go, you've gotten an internship and he places you. This is going to be a year-long, so 12 months internship, and it starts in June of this year until June of the following year. When you are 6 months into the program, you can have a break, you can go home, and then you can also change. So the agent allowed us to change farms. So the agent placed me at a farm. So this farm was huge. So it was perfect for what I wanted to achieve. Like, it was a commercial farm and it had like a variety of produce. So cucumber, tomatoes, herbs, spinach, even flowers. Like, they had a lot of produce, and they supplied like big stores like Spar, Woolies, and Pick and Pay. So this farm was huge and it was very productive. So, you know, I was fresh out of school. Like, I was fresh out of reading about all of these things. So I hadn't really worked with my hands, and I hadn't worked like in a farm. So this was all so new and also very difficult to adjust to because of just how physically draining it is, or how physically intense it is. But honestly, because it was my passion, or it is my passion, like, I adjusted pretty quickly and I really started enjoying the work. And I was learning very quickly as well. But of course, there was an issue. And the main issue at this farm was discrimination. So at this farm, like, there was a whole cohort of us as learners that are basically doing their internships. So there was like people from all different universities. And the one thing that we picked up is that the white interns were basically treated like management. Like, they would get like information that we didn't get as Black students or students of color. They were taught information, they were taught things. The permission for things was even asked from them by supervisors and managers, which was just crazy. And the way that they would treat us as Black students is that they would basically like not explain to you why we're using a certain fertilizer. Even if you ask, like, they would either ignore you or pretend like they didn't hear you. The supervisors would do that, and you would just be expected to work without understanding what's going on. So here I was in this situation where I have this great opportunity in front of me to learn from one of the best farms in the country, basically. But I'm not even able to do that because of discrimination. So I started like getting very bored with the situation because I kept having to research myself. Like, I would obviously learn a lot just by researching, looking at the names on the labels and Googling, and also referring back to my notes. But it was just not enough. Like, this is not the hands-on experience that I wanted. So because my agent said you are allowed to like change after 6 months of this 12-month program, I asked him if he could please change me and put me in a different farm, and hopefully one that's closer to Pretoria. So this one was just outside like Gauteng, which is the province. But the next farm that I was looking for, I wanted it to be closer to Pretoria, which of course is where my man is. Okay, so I'll just be closer to my man. And lo and behold, I find a farm. The agent finds me a farm and he places me at that farm. And this farm is smaller than the first one that I was at. So, like, for context, let's say maybe this farm was about like 15 hectares. And if you compare that to something else, like if you compare that to maybe F&B stadium, the F&B stadium is like 24 hectares in size. And this farm was the smaller of the two, and it was 15 hectares. So you can imagine how big the first one was. And this farm, let me just explain to you how it looked, okay? So it was divided into 3 sections, right? And it was separated with a fence. The first section was about, you could say, 3 hectares big, and this is where our rooms were. I'm still gonna go into the details about our rooms, but this is where our rooms were. And then you walked about 800 meters, and then there would be another living quarters in the second section of the farm, which was about 3 hectares. walk about another kilometer, and then that's where the toilets were. So already you can see it's off, like it's off. In the second section, which is the other living quarters that are on the farm, that's where we also had a deep freezer. So if you had meat, if you had things that had needed to stay frozen, that's where you would keep it. And then in the third section where the toilets were, there were also fridges. So like normal fridges, but like big ones, like industrial fridges. So that's where we'd keep water, juice, and stuff like that. So that's how it was broken up. This farm was owned by a lady. Let's call this lady Cruella. Okay? This farm was owned by a lady called Cruella, and in the living quarters, like the second living quarters outside of where the intern stayed, her son stayed there, and he stayed with his girlfriend. Let's call her son Dalmatians, right? Cruella and Dalmatians. We don't really need to name the girlfriend because she's not really pivotal in the story. Fine. So Cruella was the type of woman that, she was the opposite of everything that I wanted to be, basically, as a farm owner. I always wanted to own the farm, and this is the main reason why I even did agriculture. I was so passionate about farming, and she wasn't. She was the type of woman that just had money and wanted to have a farm for the money. Her farm wasn't even that big. Like, it didn't necessarily deliver to stores like Spar, but it delivered to like a middleman. So that middleman would then pick up the produce or whatever the contract is for at the end of every single week, and then they would take it to the stores. So they would basically collect produce from this farm and from another small farm and another small farm to make up one order for a big shop, right? That's basically what her farm did. This lady was, just greedy. She just wanted to make money. This was just a contract game for her. That's it. She owns a farm. She makes money. That's it. She wasn't passionate about people. So she was just horrible towards us. She would force us to overwork. Like, she would force us to work overtime, unpaid. And the worst part is that she also didn't even overlook any of her farm admin. So how we got paid, right, is that you would basically, at that first farm, how we got paid is that your farm mentor or supervisor or manager would be the one that basically takes in your hours and then takes in all of that admin for all the interns monthly, and they would give it to the agent that placed you. And the agent would be the one that pays you, not the farm, right? That's how we did it at the first farm. So we knew you just had to be accountable to your manager, your supervisor, your mentor. And then that's how you would make sure that you get paid and your hours are accounted for. At this farm with the little Miss Cruella, you did everything yourself. She didn't even overlook. She didn't even ask questions. All she wanted to do is to force you to work all the time to meet her targets. So she would basically have all of these crazy targets because she's promised people, contracts, and she wants to get paid. So she would force us to work like extra hours, even if, she knows that you're not supposed to be working more than a certain hours a week. That was Cruella. And then she had her son, right, Dalmatian. And basically Dalmatian lived with his girlfriend at the second quarters. Let me tell you the condition of these houses on this farm, like our living quarters to be very specific, like the interns where we lived. The roofs were literally exposed, like you could literally see inside the ceiling, and the ceiling was not really properly taken care of, like rotting wood basically. So lizards would be in and out of the houses like at any time they please, because it's inside, it's outside, you don't know. Are you under a roof? Are you outside? Are you sleeping outside? Like, what's going on? That was the condition of the houses that we lived in. And remember that the bathrooms are like almost 2 kilometers away from our rooms. And already we use a solar, it's like the whole place is solar powered. And it's not one of those like modern solar powered solar power systems where like where the energy is actually stored for backup power. No, like if there's no sunlight, there's no hot water and there's no electricity. So you would walk a whole 2 kilometers to go shower with cold water. Like, it was horrible living there. Like, honestly, it was horrible. And there would barely be any network. So farms are usually secluded places. So when it comes to transport, it's actually very difficult if you don't have your own transport, because there's no Ubers, and the only people that can actually help you get around is Dalmatian and his mom, Cruella. So that's the only way that you're going to get around. But obviously for me, because, you know, I had my man, you know, I have my boyfriend. So my boyfriend would come and pick me up, you know, on the weekends, or, you know, bring me things, whatever I needed from like town, he would come and bring it for me. Whereas other people had to ask Cruella and ask Dalmatian to help them. And you could just see the satisfaction on Cruella's face. Like, she loved when people depended on her. And obviously I didn't give her that satisfaction, not even like on purpose or anything, but you know, my man was always there available for me. But somehow, like, you could see that this rubbed her and Dalmatian the wrong way, because they would always make funny comments about him, or they would make funny comments about me, or funny faces towards me, which, you know, I honestly just ignored until the first incident happened. So one of the times that my boyfriend was driving to me, like, you know how, you know, roads around farms are like rocky and all of that. So he basically tried to overtake her on one of the times that he was driving there. And it, you know what, I'll never really know what actually happened that day, because the way that she is so dramatic with everything, she was just so dramatic in the way that she told the story, that she actually said that the way that he overtook her was so dangerous that he almost killed her. Like, she actually accused my man of trying to kill her just because he was overtaking, saying that he almost caused an accident. He honestly said it was not that bad at all. Like, he wasn't speeding or anything. It was just a normal overtaking, and she wasn't speeding either. Like, it was just like normal driving, but obviously she knew his car and she picked on him. And obviously, you know, my man and I both didn't want any, you know, drama, so we just apologized to her, and, you know, we left it at that. So that was the first incident. Second incident. This is where, honestly, like, this was my final breaking point. Fine. And it's only the second incident. That's how you know, like, this was bad. Fine. So we went away for the weekend, right? So my man and I went away for the weekend, and we were just enjoying each other's company, and I honestly didn't want to leave. Like, I didn't want to go back to my reality of basically sleeping outside and being a kilometer or two away from, you know, a bathroom. So I just, you know, wanted to push our stay for as long as I could. And he only ended up dropping me back at the farm around midnight, like on Sunday at midnight. So I told him, you know, babe, like, it's really late and I'm probably going to want to, you know, wake up for water. So can we please start like at the last section, the third section where, you know, we kept our water, and that's also where the farm production basically happened. That's like the biggest part of the farm. So I told him, you know, babe, can we please go there so that I can pick up some water from the fridge, and then you can drop me back off at the living quarters. So fine. And I told him, like, don't come in, like, please just park at the gate and, you know, switch on your headlights on bright so that I could see where I'm going, but you don't come in, like, I don't want drama. Fine. He parks. I go ahead, I come back with my 5 liter, and then he drops me back off at my living quarters. Sharp. I'm like, feeling so grateful, that I have this escape, with my boyfriend. Like, I'm feeling so recharged and, ready to face the week because I know it's going to be a tough one. So I sleep. Great weekend, sharp sleep. I wake up, like one of the interns is telling me that Cruella wants to talk to me. So she tells me that, Cruella wants to talk to me urgently. So I'm thinking, you know what? No, it's fine. Like, it shouldn't be anything too bad. Like, we're at work also, anything can be urgent. So I rush over and I find her at Dalmatian's living quarters. So her and Dalmatian are just like stressed and they are distraught. So I'm thinking, like, damn, like, what's going on? So she tells me, Cruella tells me that, she came all the way from her house, she stays in the suburbs of Victoria. She came all the way from her house, basically rushing to come here because of an urgent distress call that she got from Dalmatian. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? And she says, Dalmatian basically reported to her that there was a strange car, outside with the lights off, and it was here for hours. So, what's going on in the farm? What's going on? So I'm like,
bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye.
Really? Really? Like, obviously, number one, he was definitely not there for hours. He was definitely not there for hours. I literally walked in, got my 5 liter and walked out. He was not there for hours. Number two, the lights were not off. I definitely asked him to put the lights on bright and they were on bright the whole time. How else would I have found my way around? 3, what do you mean strange car? Isn't this the same strange car that almost killed you? How could you, Dalmatian knows about that story. He was the main person. He was in the car with her. He was the main person acting like, oh my gosh, he could have lost his life. How is this a strange car when you've literally seen this car almost murder you? How is this strange? This is the same person that I'm constantly being berated for coming to see me. You guys know his car. How is it a strange car now?
In your camera roll in 2020, and you've done it in 2022 after I've done it.
Like,
Chelsea, come on now.
You bought the same jacket as the girl.
Chelsea, come on now.
No, you bought the same outfit as the girl.
Chelsea, come on now.
So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me play it down. Let me just like ease their worries, and tell them, oh no, that was me and my boyfriend. That was us. Oh, they got the shock of their lives. They're just like, oh, what? This was just you? Oh my gosh, why do you keep doing this to us? Why are you controlling us? So they are just going off, especially Cruella, going off. Why am I, am I the boss of them? Am I the boss of this farm? Why am I trying to control them? Me and my boyfriend trying to control them. And the whole time I'm listening to them, I'm just absolutely shocked and stunned because I'm thinking do you guys actually believe what you're saying right now? Are you actually believing yourselves? But I'm just listening, I'm also thinking, if you guys were that distraught and you really thought you were in danger, why didn't you call the cops? Why are you calling me? How am I gonna big band help you out? Who am I? How am I gonna help? You clearly knew that it was us and you wanted me to be the first person on the scene to interrogate. Clearly. So they tell me basically that they are tired of me controlling them. They are tired of me pretending to be the boss around here. So they are giving me 2 options, right? I'm still quiet. I'm still listening to them. I'm so shocked. They tell me they're giving me 2 options. One option is that I either tell my boyfriend to no longer come and see me here again.
Forever. You answer my question, yes.
He's not allowed. Or 2, I quit and I leave the farm. So I'm still shocked. I'm like, wow. It's literally only been just over a month of me at this farm. And it's like at this point, it's like March. So I started here like in Jan and it's now March. It's not even the like June, like it's nowhere near June. I've only been here just over a month and this is my life. I go back to my living quarters and I talk to the agent. Like at this point, I'm crying and I have been crying, for a long time, ever since I came here. But it's been better because a lot of what was going wrong, other people were also, experiencing this with me, other people in the internship. So I didn't feel as alone. Like I didn't feel like I was being picked on. Because she was basically dwelling all of us. But with specific things like anything to do with my boyfriend, I was definitely feeling like I'm alone. To the point where some people in the internship also started to, distance themselves because they felt like, maybe I am the troublemaker and, they don't want to get in trouble because, they are abused as it is. So at this point, I'm just telling the agent, like, I need you to change me. Like, I need you to change me from here because it is getting so toxic. And, I don't necessarily tell him that she said I should leave, but I'm telling him I need to leave. And he says, hey, I can't change you in the middle of the program. I told you, you can only change after 6 months. Hi. And I'm thinking, then he says, you know what, calm down. You're still crying, calm down. Maybe we can talk tomorrow. And I'm thinking there's no tomorrow that's going to find me here. There's no tomorrow that's going to find me here. So I start packing my clothes and I call my boyfriend, call my man, because he's always going to pull through for me. And I tell him what's going on and he's like, babe, don't even worry. Finish up packing. I'm on my way. I'm coming to pick you up. So now I'm like, okay, fine. Baby's coming to fetch me. I didn't tell the agent that I'm leaving. I don't tell Cruella. I don't tell Dalmatian. Like literally, they spoke and then they told me to make a decision. And I just asked them if like, are we done? Like, can I be excused, please? And I left. Like, that's the most that happened between me and them. So I left and now I'm at my boyfriend's place and he is just taking care of me like the king that he is. He's just taking care of me and, just letting me know like if I need any support or telling my family he's here for me, he's going to vouch for me and all of that. He'll even, like obviously my family might just think that I just left because I want to be with my man. But, he was like, he's going to vouch for me. He's going to say he's just a friend. Just so, they don't judge me too harshly. But I decide, what, I'm not going to tell my family. But I don't know how I'm going to explain needing money from them, whereas I'm working. So I decide, what, since this lady doesn't overlook our admin anyways, let me try and fill in my timesheet, and send it into the agent and see what happens. Fine. For the first month, month end was basically like a week and a half later. So I fill in my timesheet, I submit it, and the money clocks in my account. Full. Like the full amount clocks into my account. And I'm like, okay. And then I do that again the following month just to see if it's going to work again. And it works.
A win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say. A win is a win.
So I ended up getting paid for not even going to work for months, even after the June end date for the internship. And I was like, well, that's great. Like, she actually deserves that because I'm pretty sure the farm as well had to pay for that. And I was glad, I felt like I was actually getting my lick back, I was getting paid, she doesn't even know because she's so lazy and she doesn't even know what's going on in her own firm. And she obviously is not a great communicator because she could have easily told the agent as well the person that you sent here has already left. So it ended up being a win-win situation. My boyfriend taking care of me while I was also getting paid not to be at work. And there's two things that I can tell you, about this situation, what I learned about work in general. Number one, your support system is everything. Even if it's just one person, that one person who's willing to listen to you, who's willing to be there for you, who's willing to save you from any situation or hear you out no matter how many times you cry about work, protect that person with everything, because they will be like your saving grace. You always need someone who will make you feel like you are not being dramatic. Like, that was so important for me because I knew that I had this one person that was just on my side when the whole time when I'm in the work environment, living there, and felt like everyone was against me. Number two, protecting your mental health is just as good as protecting your vision. I never wanted to lose my passion for farming, and if anything, that whole situation actually ignited my passion even more because I realized just how important it is to have people who are passionate about these careers involved in them. Like, as much as we all need to make money, and of course business is business, but it's always better to be passionate about something because you treat people with respect much easier, and you actually give people an interesting experience because you care to do that. So those two things are what I learned from my very first work experience, which basically was an internship from hell. And that's basically how I went from being a graduate to a farm worker to a stay-at-home girlfriend. So that is the end of this story time. I hope you enjoyed the story time and I hope you learned something from Anonymous. Anonymous, thank you so much for sending in your story. If you would also like to send in your career experience for one of these career therapy story times, please do follow me on Instagram and you can DM me there. And you can let me know if you want me to tell the story on YouTube as a career therapy story time like this, or you'd want me to tell it on TikTok. Either way, honestly, I can also decide if maybe your story is short, I can just make a TikTok from it instead of Instagram. The whole point of this call is for everyone to just be able to have a confidential space with other people that are not going to judge you, that are just going to embrace your story, learn from it, and just hear you out. Because a lot of the times you just need somebody to hear you out. Let me know if you enjoyed this story, and of course please give it a huge thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section. Leave a little message for Anonymous. I'm pretty sure he or she would love to see the feedback from the community. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can also be part of this awesome community that we are growing here. You will have fun here and you will also learn a lot. So yeah, I'll see you in my next video or my next call, whichever comes first.